Timbaland is currently tripling down on his AI endeavors in spite of the backlash from the fans, from fellow creatives, and even colleagues in the industry like Young Guru. So why is he dying on this hill? What does he know that we don't? Music entrepreneurs, what's going down? We are back on the MEC podcast, the music podcast, the music business podcast, where we live it so we give it. We're all currently living it, which means crazy schedules and technical problems, but nothing compared to the craziness that's happening in the music business at large. And anyway, to jump into this crazy, chaotic world, get your music out there first and foremost. If you don't have music out there, are you really in the music business? So log on to tolost.com, download the app. It makes things easier. You don't have to, but the code is MEC for 3 free months of premium music distribution. Get your songs, beats, whatever on all the platforms. Start monetizing, start learning the systems. Tolost.com. The code is MEC. How is everyone feeling today? This is going to be an interesting episode.
Yeah, I know. I've probably been saying this every week for the past few weeks, but tired again. We had a little scare, so I had to go to the hospital this morning. Everything's all good. But yeah, and I think that's just going to be my constant going forward. But overall, just got back from New York. It was Indie Week. For people that aren't familiar, Indie Week is, to me, is kind of like a smaller music biz. It's more B2B focused. It's not really artists. Not doesn't really bring out too many artists. But Two Lost we had our Two Lost app launch party on Tuesday night, so I went out for that. It was a very successful event. So that was good. But overall, definitely a net positive. Erinn, I know you had some troubles this morning. Would you like to share?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing great actually. I'm really grateful. I think that in the midst of transition, opposition will present itself, and that would cause you, me, whoever to want to shrink back and be like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this." So I'm just like, yeah, I don't want any more opposition. So this isn't me saying, yeah, bring it on. I don't want any more issues. But yeah, I'm excited. Like, I'm moving to Austin full time next month. But I'll be in Austin for the next 2 weeks, starting in a few hours. So I'm in the midst of packing for 2 weeks to travel to do the most events I've ever done across 2 weeks. But also packing up my house, which I hate. I don't like moving. This is hopefully going to be a very smooth move. But yeah, it's just, I'm juggling a lot, but I'm super grateful. Business is going really great for my tech company in Austin. I'm anticipating getting the biggest contract that I've ever received from my agency this week. Also Austin based. I just started repping a muralist a couple months ago. And because we're getting really close to a deal, to celebrate early, he gave me a really dope new art piece for my new house in Austin last night. And so I feel good. I feel really encouraged and excited. Lots of new things coming my way. I'm anticipating just a lot of wins, but also just really grateful for where I am and the level of level-headedness that I have in the midst of a lot of things that I'm juggling right now.
Dope. Well, it sounds like we mentioned a couple wins kind of in the intro and how things are going. But Payne, you want to mention a win from your past week and then we can jump into the topics?
Yeah, I think a decent win was the episode that I posted. The clip from our episode that I posted on our channel is doing pretty well and getting a lot of feedback, causing a lot of controversy. But controversy is just a part of the game. It's just cool to see the micro content from the podcast get so much attention.
Which piece?
Specifically, the piece about Ralphie the Plug saying that producers are less important than the artists during the songwriting process. So obviously contentious, but interesting conversations.
Okay. Cool. Erinn, do you want to cue up the topics or do we want to just jump right into them?
Yeah, today we're going to talk about Timbaland, what everybody is talking about. We're also going to talk about what moves some artists that I'm watching, that Dame is watching, that we are all watching are making to make a difference. I would love to give y'all some case studies or some evidence-based material to show you how to win. We're also going to talk about pain. I actually don't remember what you said your topic was. That's on me.
Yo, it's Timbaland.
Oh, okay. So it's mostly Timbaland. And then I want to talk to y'all about what I've been listening to. I didn't get to post the clip last week, but I'm trying to listen to more of y'all's music. I'm discovering a lot of small artists per usual, but people after 2 episodes ago have been accusing me of not loving independent artists. So here's proof. Erin's Ears is coming at you today. I'm going to tell you some of the indie artists I've been listening to.
Well, you have been talking about, people's music being shit, and you know, I could see where they get it from.
How? Because it's like, I never talk like that. I just had to be honest because I'm like, some of y'all are trying to present something that's not real. But like in general, I'm super pro artist, super pro indie, super pro tiny, tiny indie. Like I listen to more music than any exec that I know.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, we wouldn't be doing this podcast if we didn't care about the independent community. Because again, it's not like we're here getting Joe Rogan checks. So no matter what we say or how we're feeling that day, the fact that we show up every single week should be evidence enough that we care about independent artists and we want to contribute to the community in a positive way. So
We need to have more white nationalists on the podcast as guests, then we start getting those Joe Rogan checks. No, for real, I think people really. I don't understand why. Like people know damn well if they're walking down the street and 20 artists are thrusting their CDs at them. I don't know if they do that anymore because it's a CD, but if they're thrusting a QR code at them and they listen to all 10 of them, they're not going to love all 10. They're not even going to be moderately impressed by all 10. So I don't know why they're shocked when Erinn says something like that.
yeah, I think I've said this before. Like when we were on the road, the Funk Volume days, obviously we would get a lot of CDs that shows a lot. And I would actually listen to some of them because I had nothing else to do as we were driving from city to city. And I only remember one artist from all of the years in which we've received CDs that I thought like the music was top notch. And the cat's name was Neo the Gift from the Bay Area. Still remember his name. Out of the thousands and thousands of CDs that we were given, I only remember one of the artist's name because he was the only person that to me, everybody has their own taste of music, but like to me, he was the only artist where the music kind of stood out.
Yeah, when I used to tour with a showcase or when I would just tour and people would give me stuff, I would usually listen just because you're on the road and what else are you going to do? So you listen, and there was some good stuff. When I was working for radio, I would take people's CDs, and what was disappointing to me was that when I would play, I remember one of the CDs had an artist's phone number on it. So I think I called him and I was like, hey, I've been trying to text you and email you. You're not responding, but I'm playing your song this coming Saturday. And he was just like, oh, man, which song are you playing? I'm like, the one on the CD. Oh, man, you should have played this other one. I'm just like, all right, man, bye. So I think everyone's saying, oh, well, they're jaded because they've been in this business and this and that. It's not about being jaded. It's about protecting your time and energy. That's all it is. Once you go through the same shit 1,000 times, you learn what you're going to tolerate. You learn your risk tolerance. I'm not going to waste my time anymore. And I know how to spot someone that's not serious and they're wasting my time. So I think the unfortunate reality is people are just not who they say they are. And I think we're going to,
Or
should
the
we just,
music is cool.
yeah.
But it's just cool. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people, like when I did the mayor's office feedback session, there were no bad submissions. There was nobody that I was like, I wish they wouldn't have been here. But there was only like 3 that I felt stood out from the crowd. And then the person who won to me was by far the absolute best. But it's like, there's a lot of people who are like pretty good. Like it's not that hard to be pretty good. I think if you put in any effort and then if you practice a little bit, you'll be pretty good at anything. And I think there's a lot of people like pretty good is just mediocre to me because pretty good is what effort equals, right? So if you're proud of yourself for being pretty good and want people to give you energy, then I think that you have like mistaken what this is about. Yes, the radio may just be a lot of pretty good music. Yes, populist culture may be pretty good music, but you don't have the privilege and the access that those people have. So you got to pull your head out of your butt and be like, yo, like maybe I should step up something else. And to be honest, pretty good music can actually have you out here winning, but something else has to be outstanding. Your business acumen, the resources that you attract, the relationships that you generate. Like if you're okay with your music being pretty good, which again, I know a lot of people making a full-time living off of pretty good music, and everybody has their preference, but I think that you have to understand that something else that you have has to be excessively dynamic.
And that's a great point because a lot of artists like to compare their music to what's on the radio, but what's on the radio has a huge marketing budget, right? As an independent artist, obviously you don't have a huge marketing budget. So when you do get the attention of someone, you have to really wow them in order for them to lock in. So comparing yourself to music on the radio will actually you'll do yourself a disservice because you actually have to go above and beyond because you're not going to get the number of chances to, get an opinion from someone. So your music to me actually has to be above and beyond what you're hearing at a mass scale a lot of the times. So, but
Well, oh yeah, because
let's
once
talk
it gets
about.
to the radio,
Go ahead.
it's this plays into your topic because once the songs get to the radio, they've already gone through a bunch of other steps to get there. And people are like, "Oh, it's just someone just paid money to get it on the radio." Nah, it. This is why it's great for artists to work in non-artist music business jobs or just kind of be around those people, seeing what actually is happening behind the curtain. Because otherwise, you'll be on YouTube watching a conspiracy video about the music business, and it always goes back to some weird sex ritual, and then everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, that's how radio works." It's like, man, why are you distracting yourself with this stuff? I know why. It's because people want to find excuses for why they're not blowing up. And it really just comes down to why are their songs not resonating with people? Yeah, your music might sound like the radio in the sense that the beat sounds good, the engineering is great, you're rapping like these people, but why is your music not connecting with people? Because it's not. If you're this frustrated, that's all usually what it is. Either like you're not consistent enough or you're just not connecting with people through the music, through the branding, through all of these other elements of a music career. And I think we covered 24K Gold and talking about what the formula for writing a hit song was. And it was, it's not like a step by step process, but he was talking about making something catchy and universal, but also something that's relatable. However, anyone can write a song about going out to the club, but what's the unique angle? How are you saying it in a way that others haven't said it? And how are you presenting it in an appealing way? It was like the shortest masterclass of writing a hit song I've ever seen. It was very short. But it could apply to a number of different situations. It's just a matter of analyzing, self-analysis. Are artists analyzing their music to that extent? If that's the route they want to go, you want a hit song, that's a very specific trajectory. But to go back to what Erin's saying, you don't need that to make a living. So transitioning into Dame's video, do you want me to play the video? Because it caused some conversation, did it not?
Yeah. What are we talking about? I thought we were going to talk about Timbaland first, but
Well, this
we can go
naturally
out.
plays into your topic because we're talking about artists and expectations, and I think you had I don't know, you knew this was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, go ahead. You can, if you have it queued up, go ahead and play it. Or I could just talk. I could just repeat it. It was my video, so I could definitely explain. Like, what I was talking about.
So I've heard a lot of managers say this, and I struggle with it because I don't know if it's true. And that's, if you're hungrier than the artist that you work with, it'll never work. I've actually never met an artist that's willing to go as hard as I'm willing to go. Most of them draw boundaries. Most of them have a very hard time doing things they don't want to do. And that's life in general. Most people have a hard time doing things they don't want to do. And that typically separates the successful folks from the non-successful folks. But I don't know if I agree with this. What I've experienced is, you know, if you set up a campaign and tell an artist like, hey, if you do these 10 things, you'll knock it out the park. They'll look at the 10 things, maybe commit to 7, and then actually do 4 or 5. And that's been my experience. But maybe this means I shouldn't be managing creators. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with this statement? Do you not agree? I just don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be managing creators.
Like, just to follow up on that video, like, I'm not looking for an artist to work as hard as me. Like, that's not that, like, good luck. Like, I'm wired a certain way to stay up a certain amount of hours, to be locked in, and I would love it, but that's not what I'm looking for. Like, if I was working with another creator, I want to understand their end goal, and then I'm going to look at their work ethic and be like, okay, do I think they work hard enough to achieve what they want to achieve? I'm not comparing their work ethic to mine. So it's not about really a manager working harder or an artist working harder. It's like, from my experience, is this artist working hard enough to accomplish what they say they want to accomplish? So it's not a competition with me. I didn't mean to set it up that way, but there are certain things that have become kind of normalized in the management community, of just things just to rattle off because it sounds good, but I just don't agree with it. The other one that I don't agree with is, get a manager when you have something to manage. Like, that has become something that people just repeat as a response to the question, like, when should I get a manager? Is like, no, like, from my perspective, you can build something together that's worthy and needing of management. So it's just some of the things that I challenge with, and I just have never met an artist that works harder than me. Like I said in the video, typically, artists, they just don't do certain things. Like, even with Big Ja right now, like, there's no way that I'm not working with Ja. Like, that's my dog. I've known him forever. But there's just, go look at his social media page. Like, most of those posts are me. Like, he doesn't post, and it's not, he doesn't do it malicious. He doesn't, like, not do stuff maliciously. Like, that's what Hop used to do. Like, Hop used to do stuff like to challenge me and to, like, let people know that I'm not the boss of him. Like, that's the energy that I won't entertain at all. Like, Ja is not that. Ja just can't bring himself to do certain things that I think would push us forward, and I try to, fill in those gaps. But yeah, I just haven't met. I mean, Erinn, you've managed artists. Payne, you've managed artists. Like, they, you can't, sometimes it's weed, they gotta have their weed. Sometimes, like, there's just a lot of things. It's like, bro, if you really want this, like, all this other bullshit wouldn't matter and you'd be going hard. Like, why do I gotta keep reminding you of the goal that you set for yourself?
Well, I'm looking at the comments, which I think maybe inspired this topic. And there's one comment that says, most of these managers be lying on the net. They can't break an artist. I'm not going to say the guy's name because I'm about to comment on his overall strategy, which is like a problematic way of looking at management. I think most artists look at managers as a way to get famous. I just need the right manager behind me and things are going to change for me. And it's like, if you can't change your own situation, another person isn't going to be willing to do that. But he just keeps going because people are challenging him, and he just says a bunch of fake famous people on Instagram acting like they made it on the net and not famous in real life. And then he replies to you again, Dame, even though you're not talking to him. Let's talk more about these fake Instagram famous musicians. Make post about that. So Dame, I don't think you have made post about that. But when I click on this guy's, because I'm like, why is he so frustrated? He's an artist. he must really be working hard to be this frustrated about these fake famous artists. I click on his profile. It says he's an artist. There's not a single link to any music. Every single post that I'm looking at is memes that he took from other people. Nothing to do with his music. He's not even in front of the camera. It's all memes. It's a meme account. And when he does post an artist, it's an artist that's not him in the form of a meme. And this is what I'm talking about. There are so many artists who are frustrated that their music careers aren't doing well because of other people, and they can't even show up for themselves. How is a manager going to be committed to you? You are not committed to yourself. How is a manager going to accomplish your goals? You haven't even set goals for yourself.
I think I've learned, we've been on social media long enough to see, like, when you see a comment and you kind of believe that person is a little off. So I don't really respond. Like, I'm not going to keep going back and forth with people that I feel like this doesn't really make any sense. I don't know what this person's talking about. I didn't want to respond to that one. But of course, a manager can't break an artist by themselves. Like, everybody, and I didn't mean to set up like. Erinn just shook her head, but maybe it's possible. But so I'd love to hear that in a second. But I don't ever want to set up like a manager, and I guess I did with the video. So for that, I kind of regret it. But I never want to set up like an artist versus producer situation, because I already think there's enough fighting between artists and producers. I don't want to set up an artist versus management, tension, because there's already enough of that. Like, we need each other, right? Like, I can't put together a plan or a campaign, like, and when a manager does put together a plan or a campaign, it's to accomplish the goals that the artist says it's not the managers, it's the artist's vision. Like, where do they want to be, right? Then you guys work together to figure out how to get there. But if you work together and put together a plan of how to get there, of course, the artist needs to go 100% to execute that plan together. The team needs each other in order to win, right? So yes. So I don't like conversations about, oh, a manager can't break an artist by himself, or a producer can't make a hit by himself, or whatever. It's, ultimately people need to understand that it's the team that needs to move together in order to accomplish their goals. But Erinn, weigh in. Help me understand the head movement.
I mean, I do ascribe to the thought process that I don't want to manage somebody who's not working as hard as me, which is why I don't do management anymore. I can say, like, in my career, I've had 2 artists for sure that worked as hard as me, but that's also by the time I was backing off from doing everything, right? So what ultimately disrupted one of them is that artist was like, I feel like you're not doing a lot for me. And I just looked at them and was like, I get 15%. And I think in their head, it all like registered suddenly, because they were like, huh. Do you know what I'm saying? Because their thought was like, in fact, the reason I was only taking 15% with them, because I've only taken 15% with a handful of artists. It was like the first group I ever managed, another group that I managed in order so that each of the group members could have more portions. And then this artist, because I was training her assistant to be her day-to-day. And I knew when she came on board, I wanted her to be catalyzed from a percentage perspective to work harder. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I won't go up to 20. Like, in fact, I was at 20 and I dropped down to 15, just so she could get her day-to-day salary plus 5%. And this artist was like, yo, and that was an artist who I thought worked very, very hard. But at that point in that artist's career, she was very serious and focused on like what she wanted to do and the ideas that she had. So it rendered me to her mercy, right? So like there were things I wanted to go after, things I was trying to build around her. And she'd be like, I just want to rap and record. I just want to rap and record. She was signed at the time. She was doing all right with merchandise, and my booking agency was getting her booked consistently enough. So it was like she was making, like low six figures. And so I just was like, cool. I really fulfilled the manager role. I would seed her name out. I made sure that my booking company was doing well for her. But like, I wasn't going after much, because every time I brought something new and I was trying to build something, I tried to build a TV show around her, because I had like a TV deal that was in place. I tried to build her own like conference and like summit around her. She was getting into makeup. I was trying to build a makeup line. And it was like every year I would spend months doing a ton of research. And then I'm like, here's the game plan. We got to do this. And then she was just like, I just want to rap and record. So I'm like, cool. So at the end of a year of me just being like, cool, I'm going to for real be your manager, she presented me with that. And then, it fell apart, which is cool. But if I'm going to work harder than you, then I need to be capital. Like, I need to receive the amount of capital that equals that, right? We're business partners at this point. So that's why I don't like managing artists, because it's never going to be a place where you can understand that. I do also agree with the notion that I feel like I was saying it before it was popular. Like, you don't need a manager until there's something to manage. The reason I feel like you say that is because when people say they're looking for a manager, they're not looking to build from the ground up with somebody who's as ignorant as they are. A lot of times people are like, I'm looking for a manager. I'm looking for a manager. They want somebody who already has success to spot them, pluck them from obscurity, and then propel them forward. So I always say, like, well, when you have something that's big enough to propel, a lot of times the right people come into place. So I do agree with you, because I started out building with my homies. Like, my homeboys started a band. We was grinding it out, figuring it out. That's how I started my whole career. But now in the position that I'm at, even when I was still managing, there's no way that I would grind with anybody. About 6 or 7 years into my career, I was like, if you're not even full time, I can't even waste my time on you. In 6 years into my career, I only took on one other artist that wasn't full time, and she was very close, super brandable. And within 8 months of me managing her, she was making six figures, right? So homie who's saying fake people on the internet, maybe none of my artists were famous, but none of my artists were not making at least six figures, right? And that's like, I have the stats and facts. Within 9 months of every person that I've ever managed, they've been either their business has generated six figures, or they have sabotaged six figures worth of deals, and then we ended up not working together. But that's just I can make money for people. I'm good at business. So I'm not talking about fame, but I think if I'm coming in knowing that I'm batting 1,000 on taking people from 40,000 to at least 120, or 50,000 to 200,000 consistently, every single artist I've ever worked with, or getting them capitalized in a way that they get an investor or whatever, to where they're not having to worry about the day-to-day cost and they can invest in their career, then for sure you gotta work as hard as me, because I have proof of concept. Like, not just that I'm good at business, but I'm good at managing artists in a way that's going to get them to their next move.
But people just have to be honest with themselves, and they're not. And that's like the foundational problem. I want to be as big as this artist. Oh, you want to be as big as Drake? You want to be as big as Yachty? You want to be as big as Migos? Yeah, they all have endorsement deals. They're touring. They're doing this. They're branching out. They're really active on social media. They're doing podcasts. Do you want to do? No, I just want to rap. Okay, never mind. There's your goals go right down the toilet, because you don't even understand your own notion of fame or success.
We tried podcasting too and did really well in 10 episodes, and then they dropped the ball.
But that's how it always is, and it's so frustrating to witness, and even more frustrating to experience.
Well, one of the most important things when you're working with an artist as a manager is, like, you both have to be aligned on what the end goal is, right? And from a management perspective, you have to say, okay, this person wants to be here. Is that enough for me? Is that enough for me to pour into this artist every single day? However the commission is structured, or if you have equity in the business, like, do you want to put in all of your time and energy, even if you do succeed and get there, is that enough for you? Right? Because the problem with me and Hop is like the end goal would always change, and unbeknownst to me, right? Like some days he would want to be the biggest artist ever, and I'm like, great. If we can get there, I'm definitely going to be happy with my own situation too, because I can build off that. That will be enough money, But then some days, he literally went into the Warner office and told them that he doesn't want to be that big. And then I'm like, wait, hold on. You changed the end goal, because if you're not that big, my percentage of not that big is super small, and I'm not going to be able to take care of my family. So I got to jump off this ship. So you have to be on the same page with the artist of what the end goal is, so that you can set up your individual situation financially. If you want to build a family, is that going to be enough to build a family on? So, if and not that artists aren't allowed to change their end goal, because they might get into this and be like, man, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect fame to be like this. I didn't expect all of these problems. You got to have that conversation as early as possible to give your team a heads up that they might need to pivot too, right? So if you said you wanted to be the biggest artist in the world and you're on your way to having success towards that, and then you want to pivot, your team needs to know so they can make a decision of whether or not they need to go in a different direction.
That's
But
another
people
issue
still
too.
lie
It's like,
though. It's lies.
you have an understanding of what it looks like to scale in this industry, same like I do, right? But when you have a fresh artist who may have a little bit of success and they're starting to build, they're like, yeah, I want to take this all the way up. They still have no concept of what that looks like from a realistic standpoint, from a work ethic standpoint. And I'm not even saying that I took anybody all the way up, right? But I've taken people to several steps. You know what I'm saying? Like currently I've in the last 3 years gotten 3 Grammys on teams I've worked on, right? And this is like, so if we're talking about, so I can't say that, we've done arena tours, whatever, but we have played a couple of arena shows. You know what I'm saying? So we've done some big stages. I've been a part of some big things, and it's like, the mental fortitude that you have to withstand even some of these places. And I think that's the cost that so many artists don't count. Like, cause they'll say it's, oh, I want all the money, right? But then they'll be quick to be like, well, my homie is doing this thing and it's on a really big stage. I'm cool if it's like pro bono or whatever, right? Just because they want the attention. But then I'm like, there's this money play for a way smaller situation in front of like kids for this charity organization, and they're like, nah, I'm not doing that. So it's like, it's one thing to say one thing that you want, and it's a whole nother thing to like follow through with that, especially when money is no longer the factor. As an artist who's trying to figure it out, a lot of people will be like, oh, I'll take anything. I'm trying to say yes to everything. When you get to the point, not even that you're just sitting comfortably, none of my artists were just like plush, like 6 figures in America when you got to pay management and taxes is not nothing crazy. But when you get to the point where you're not having to like kill your next meal, then the decisions start to change. Even when you're broke, sometimes head ass artists, like I tell y'all that story all the time. I had the artist text me a screenshot that he had like negative $200 in his bank account. I'm like, bet. Within a month, I had him a deal with Puma. A month later, he shot it in the foot. And now from that day forward, I've never done anything with Puma, right? And they were offering him a lot of money just to make a couple of posts and free shoes, right? And he got the free shoes, never got the money, fucked up my whole relationship. I still did a side deal with Puma, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know what it is about artists, but the self-saboteur in music
Yeah.
artists is higher than I've ever experienced in my life. And like
Well,
at the beginning of this episode, I mentioned I'm working with a muralist now. We had a real, we talked for 4 hours last night because I told him, like, this is the first time I'm getting back into representing an artist since I got out of music management. And I want to be clear about some things. If the targets change, cool, but I need to know ASAP because I'm here to make money. I'm here to make you big. I want you to reach your goals, but I'm not wasting my time on you self-sabotaging in your head.
What needs to be studied is the brand of self-sabotage that Dame mentioned, because I've heard it with every artist I work closely with, which is I don't want to be that big. Why are you trying to make me so big? Why are you trying to make me famous? Bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? Because, okay, fine. At the Hobson point, I understand. At least, if you're having a mental break and there's just a lot going on and you suddenly realize, oh my God, there are all these people who are affecting my energy and I'm affecting their energy. This is weird for me. We need to talk about me pulling back from this or whatever. Have a healthy conversation about it. But I guess if you're in that space to begin with, you're not having a healthy conversation with anything. But the artists that I worked with that weren't doing shit, they were, we'd play shows, whatever, but they weren't doing this full time. They weren't making a living off of it. They weren't getting stopped at the mall. They weren't going viral. That's what they said. They said, my friend was like, man, dog, I ain't even trying to do that big major label shit. I'm like, what are you trying to do then? Because you won't even post on MySpace. It was another guy that was like, I don't want to be famous. I can't do this anymore. It's like, what are you doing? You play 1 or 2 shows a month. You're not getting stopped at the mall. You're not getting followed. What's really going on? So it's a
I don't think
weird,
artists want to be successful, if I'm being honest. I don't think
yeah.
people in general want to be successful, but just like bringing it back down to this conversation, I don't think artists want to be successful. I think they just like the idea of success. Because if you want it to be successful, there's a lot of trade offs and a lot of discipline that, like, when you meet somebody who wants to be successful, you know it every time because they're so different. That's why I feel like, dang, you ride so hard for Ja, because it's like, it's evident, dude. First time I met Ja, we were in Waffle House. I remember I texted you, Dave. He was at a comedy show in Austin. And I'm like, yo, Ja. And he looked at me kind of like, who is this? I'm like, yo, I know Dave. Da, 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 da. I was hyped to see him. But in the midst of a Waffle House, he's like, you could tell, playing the supporting role to his homies who were like, stand up. He's a star. You could just tell, humble dude, but you can tell he's got it. Every time I can remember when I've met successful people, I remember a basketball player when he was like 10 years old. Dude is in the league right now. He's like coming up in the G League right now, very young. But there, you remember successful people. The reason that I'm so memorable is because you know I'm going to be successful, right? I stand out in a room because there's something different about me. And I feel like when you are somebody who is driven to be your version of successful, not comparatively successful, not successful by somebody else's standard, but when you're driven to be successful, there's not all these bullshit conversations that had to be had. There's not all this give and take, push and pull to get you to there because it's happening in your head and you're accelerated by the people who are around you. So truth of the matter is, I just don't think artists want to be successful. And I stand 10 toes down on that.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say on this before we get into the Timbaland thing, I think a lot of times, don't get me wrong, there definitely are some artists that, like, I believe Nick D when he says that he doesn't want to be like, super, super famous, right? But a lot of artists say they don't want to be that successful because it's a protection against failure, right? Like, so if they fail, they can always just fall back on, well, I wasn't trying to be that big anyway. Like, to me,
Nick D
that's
doesn't want to be famous, but he wants to be rich, and he's very much working towards that.
oh, the people, I would say he already has accomplished that. Um, but I think it's just kind of like an ego thing. It's a protection against failure. Like, you did want to get hired or where you because, like Payne mentioned, most of the people saying this, if we're looking at it from levels 1 to 10, are like at the 3, 4 level, and they're looking at,
If that.
I don't want to be 10. Well, you don't got to worry about that shit because you have 7 more levels to go before you get to 10. So why are you even saying that? You have to worry about getting to 4 and 5. Like, why are we even having conversations about 10? Is like reserved for very few artists, and you have to do a lot of things, have to have a lot of investment and a big team to get to 10. So let's not have this conversation. You put one foot in front of the other and try to get to 4. Let's pivot to our guy Timbaland. Timbaland recently did a live with Guru, and he had like different people come in. The one thing that I will give him credit for, because I'm not going to give him credit for much in this conversation, is just allowing different perspectives to have the stage. I'll give him a few points for that. Because my guy John, I think John Sway is how you pronounce his last name, but he participated in one of the contests that we hosted. I forget which one it was, but I think that's how I originally got connected to him. And obviously, he was very passionately against what Timbaland is doing in terms of presenting a new AI artist called Tata. And John came on and called him, pretty much demonic to his face. So I'll give Timbaland a couple of points just for allowing different perspectives to share
Hot
that.
take, he's feeding that into the algorithm too. I'm not even joking though. I'm like, at this point, I don't trust, bruh. Like, that's why I told you I'm not even watching these videos no more because I feel like he's soul sucking even our energy just watching it. So I'm like, bro, maybe plugging this into Suno just for the IP of people who think divergently. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand it. It's Timbaland obviously hit the scene with a very unique sound and did obviously a lot of hits, helped produce for, so many dope artists, always at the cutting edge of everything. And I guess this is kind of on like it just the idea of being on the forefront and kind of like, because the sound was such a step forward when you first heard Missy and Mr. Magoo and what he did with Genuine and stuff. Maybe in his mind, like he's looking at, I gotta be at the front of this too. But this to me is not a step in the right direction. With an AI, like backing an AI art, especially when I could maybe take it a little better if he also was still working with artists and like advancing sounds like with actual artists, and then maybe did.
He is. That's the cap. He has a label deal with UMG Nashville and has a country artist right now that's doing a lot. His country artist just played at the Grand Ole Opry a month ago. That's
I
the
didn't know.
crazy thing to me.
I didn't know that. But yeah, like what was frustrating to me was like he was sitting there like he didn't have skin in the game. He was sitting there like he was just moderating a conversation and didn't have any investment on the AI side. He was just sitting back, kind of taking it in information and just like playing a moderator role, as opposed to like, I don't know what defense he would have for this, but like, because somebody had mentioned in the chat, I don't know exactly what the context was, but somebody had mentioned blockchain technology, and he was like, "Oh, I like what that person said. Blockchain. Like, what are you talking about? Do you know what any of this stuff is? Like, are you being used? I mean, he's definitely being used by these bigger companies, but do you even realize you're being used? Um, to give this some type of credibility." It was just weird. It was awkward. It was weird to me. Guru was trying to explain to him some things, and he was acting like he didn't understand. And then he just like randomly went to the bathroom. I was like, "What is this guy's kind of a clown?" Like the way he's presenting himself right now is like, you seem clueless, and you're acting like you're not why we're here having this conversation. Payne, I
It's
don't
a
know how much
PR
you watch.
disaster, an absolute PR disaster. For I don't know why he's, because at first people felt, creators felt disrespected by Timbaland's announcements. So his response was to make videos disrespecting them even further. It's terrible PR. And then he saw the backlash and he got on the lives and was like, all right, well, let's have a dialogue. But instead of having a dialogue, he was distracted the entire time, looking bored, talking over Guru when I think her name is Jan Lee or Jane Lee. She's an exec. She was going off on him, but he was basically looking the other direction and like welcoming other guests and having other conversations. So it's a PR dumpster fire. But to pick up on what you said, because off camera you were talking about Rodney Jerkins, right? I didn't see that
Yeah.
clip. Can you explain? Because this is one of those things where like, here's another great producer that we love. I'm sorry, Erinn. I know you love Rodney Jerkins too. What did
Do
what
not.
did he say? Oh, I thought you did. My bad.
Yeah, so Rodney came on the Breakfast Club, and it was just a clip that I saw on Instagram, but kind of in defense of Timbaland. So one defense I actually kind of resonate with. I'll tell you what that is second, but like the first one was, AI is a tool. You can it can be defined as a tool, but he was trying to defend it in a way that it like takes some kind of time to learn how to become a good prompter, because that was his thing. It's like you almost have to learn how to be a good prompter. Like he didn't make this direct comparison, but it sounded like it almost as if you have to learn how to play an instrument. It's like you can learn how to be a good prompter in seconds, literally in seconds. You can't learn how to play an instrument in seconds unless you're some kind of like, prodigy. So making that argument is just completely ridiculous to me. That but the part that did resonate with me though is why Timbaland announces this new AI artist Tata. He was like, well, the AI artist doesn't talk back. Now I don't think it's a reason. I don't think it's a reason to do this. But I was like, that is that is true. It would be nice to work with
Dave, that's crazy.
it, but it would be
Now
nice to
that
work with
sounds like the sex androids that people are like, oh, the
Correct.
sex
Thank you.
androids.
That's crazy.
That's where we get, and I just want to say my overarching problem with AI is consent. I don't know why the fuck consent is such a difficult concept for any of these guys to address. I haven't heard any of them address consent. They want to talk about AI as a tool, or we not training on none of y'all shit. They want to do all this dancing around
Why
the
is
core issue.
Tata a woman?
And people were saying, well, why is she an Asian woman? It's just a lot of weird shit going on. But then look at there's a larger consent problem in the entertainment industry. Diddy, Weinstein, Epstein, Seinfeld, the Tate brothers. A lot of guys look up to these guys.
different direction. I didn't know you guys were going in this direction.
No,
But you
I'm
saying
gonna
that
end
AI
there.
doesn't talk back is literally like that sounds like the most patriarchal, most like anti-woman thing to say. I know it's like you're thinking about it from a like artists are a headache. I'm hearing that as a woman who is often told you shouldn't speak so much. Like, even in our comments, consistently men say, I talk too much. So when I hear a man say about a female presenting AI experiment, she doesn't talk back, especially a man that I've dealt with who doesn't treat women well. What would you expect me to, as a woman in America? And I know it's a joke, Dame, but this shit is super dark to me. In a whole, there's a lot of other stuff going on. Brandon from Digilog yesterday posted a video and said that this was digital colonization. And I'm like, yeah, led by an Uncle Tom, which is crazy to me because it's clear he's being used because he doesn't even understand basic Web3 terminology. And that to me, at first, I thought his soul was dead. Then I'm like, oh no, his brain is just dead. Bro doesn't even understand that he's onboarding the like over the gentrification of our culture. Like he said, here's your on ramp rapidly. And I'm going to say the artists that have the most soul. Y'all remember way before he even announced this, I was pissed when he said AI had more soul. It had the most soul right now. So you're
Please walking
saying
that
it
comment
has
back.
the most soul because you sucked the soul out of all these people on your live. That's why, remember I said this. Why is he still holding these lives with artists if he's going the AI direction? Boom, he announces his AI artist. I said, oh, it was all a front. He's taking all of their IP every week and plugging this shit into Suno. And I feel like it hasn't even been like nobody's even looking at that yet. But I'm like, that's why you would be doing lives because it's just giving you a ton of you're hearing what the new age of music, what young hungry artists who have nothing to lose are creating. You're looking at the landscape of music from across the world because people are tuning in globally and giving him sounds. This shit is crazy to me. I don't take it lightly. I didn't really want to say a ton because it bothers me so much and I don't have anything good to say. But to me, from a cultural standpoint, I'm way more offended than I am from him being a great music creative. Like, as a black man, knowing what's happened to our culture in this country and in this world consistently, for you to be the one who's opening up the floodgates is crazy to me. And then to see how ignorant he is. It's one thing to be knowingly doing it. That type of person I just think is soulless. But for him to be so ignorant, it's like, damn, it really feels like they waved some dollars at bro, and he's probably looking at legacy money. Like, and the sad part is Timbo has money. Like, his legacy, he has records making dumb money even still right now, like
Yeah.
publishing masters, all sorts of stuff like this. So it's like he's looking at like another level, another realm of wealth to betray humanity, it feels like. And I know that feels like a weighty, heavy thing to say, but I can't get behind somebody like this. I don't want to give him my energy when it comes to me looking at his stuff. I hate that I'm even giving energy to this conversation, but I feel like somebody like me has to represent even women in this industry and say, this is crazy. Like, why does she look the way she does? Whatever, why does it sound like this? Why are you saying these things? What is the point behind this? And how do you get so devoid of your understanding and so far away from sound words, sound people, that you're willing to obstruct this? Do you know, like, that you're willing to uphold this? I mean, like, why would you be okay with this? Is there nobody in your corner that's like, hey, I think you should check on this, you should think about this? Like, who is talking to you? What are your kids saying? Like, what are you thinking about right now?
Yeah, nah, he definitely just seemed like a empty person. Like, it was weird watching the live. So I rock with everything that you just said. Obviously, we can't confirm that he's feeding, the sounds from the live into AI. It's possible. For me, it like those lives are just try to build up credibility, more credibility in the community, so that he can do kind of like this switch and just really, lean heavy into this AI stuff. I would really love to know the deal that he has with these folks. But it's frustrating that it's
I wonder if we
Timbaland.
can ask Suno.
It's frustrating that it's Timbaland. Like, it's
Yeah.
what he's always meant to music, and the black culture, and it's just super frustrating that it's him.
And to me, the way he's representing women, that's one of the things to me that make Timbaland so great to me, is
Because of Mitzi.
he had the ability to pull out and carve out sounds and give space and place to women's voices specifically. Like Aaliyah, Missy Elliott, like there's so many people, Carrie Hilson, the writers that he works with. He works with so many female producers and writers. For me, he was a hero more than just sonically. This is like one of the most disgruntling, heartbreaking things. It was kind of like when I met the producer that we mentioned earlier. I don't even want to be attached to dude, but like that, when I started working with bro, I was like, damn, this is why they say don't work with your heroes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to see any, I feel like I really got to get off the internet. Like, not that I've ever deified a human, but to look at a person and think that they're a great human and then realize there's nothing in them that you would desire to be around is kind of tragic to me.
I was just gonna say I disagree that AI is a tool. AI is a framework for creating tools, just like any other. Patriarchy is a framework. Racial constructs, those are frameworks. AI is a framework that's being used all types of ways. So I wouldn't ever use the AI as a tool to excuse some of this behavior. Yesterday on Grok, right? That's Elon Musk's internal AI system. There were some viral tweets going around where a random woman just posted a selfie and all these dudes underneath were asking Grok to create these sexual assault fantasies, and generate photos. It's dark stuff. And AI as a framework is enabling that. AI as a framework is enabling weaponry to kill children overseas. They're testing it. And this isn't tinfoil hat stuff. This is open AI. They've been militarized. Microsoft, Palantir, Trump's people over there at Palantir, Cisco, Dell, look it up. There's one ethno state in particular that is utilizing AI weaponry. So again, it's bigger than music, and it is a framework that is much bigger than these tiny little micro tools that we all use. I think the focus is off. I think we're looking at individual tools, comparing them to autotune, which is asinine, and just moving on with the conversation, because the deeper we go, the darker it gets.
Again, I just want to make sure people don't take my original comment of like the AI doesn't talk back. I don't agree with this either. That part did resonate with me because I do think that artists on the whole, right, need to be more coachable, right? Like you have to there's a lot of reasons to work with someone like Erinn. One of the reasons is she has a lot of experience. So if you're not, hearing what she's putting into practice, some of the things that she's saying, that you might as well not work with her or me. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So you have to have some level of coachability, even if you're strong, passionate, opinionated about what you want to do. Because I think what's also bad and what happens a lot, and I've experienced this a lot, is like, you know, artists everybody wants to be right. Artists like to be and artists can prove a manager right 24/7 just by, even if they do what they're told by their manager, but they do it half-ass, right? Like, you can prove to me that my stuff doesn't work all day by doing what I tell you to do, but you just do it like 4 out of 10 effort level. Well, of course it's not going to work now because you didn't really do it how I envisioned for you to do it or how it's supposed to be done.
And
So
just know, Dane, people are gonna be in the comments like, "Oh, well, I don't want my manager telling me what to do." Yes, you do. Most artists don't want to think about the business stuff or whatever. In the comments, people are like, "Just tell me what to do and I'll do it." So, like, y'all better not get on your high horse and be like, "Why are you telling artists what to do?" This is the problem.
you most, not for everything, like for your art, like if I'm working with you, like, maybe over time I'll have some feedback on the art that is valuable, but that's the space that you kind of own, and you own that because I obviously I agreed to work with you, so I like what you're doing from an artistic perspective. So keep doing that, keep evolving that. Great. But you have to be told what to. You don't know what to. Obviously, you don't know what to do, or you'd be where you'd want to be. So I would just encourage people. You need the right people around you coaching you for sure. But you have to take your hands off certain things and just be coachable and just try it. Try it to the best of your ability. Put 100% into it for at least a year before, not like a couple of weeks and then be like, see, I told you that wouldn't work. Nah, you have to lock in for at least a year and then see, where you were before and then a year later, and if you're happy with that progress.
Well, okay, in regards to that, with this whole Timbaland conversation, right? That's also a really problematic statement to make, to say, well, yes, it's difficult to work with artists, so we're just going to go with AI. However, the video that I showed you shows that, and I think Timbaland never denied this. There's a woman who claims she wrote all the songs and that's her voice. So it's not that an artist is being replaced. She is an artist and she is certainly talking back in this video. Can I play that clip? I don't know for a fact.
So it actually gets even worse than this. So this is actually the woman who has been writing this stuff for this pop star.
Like, I've been sending Tim my vocals. I've been writing for his AI. He'll send me a beat for me to pen and sing on my Logic, and then I send it to him, and he has AI sing it. And I'm always asking him, like, can I just sing it? Like, I sound good.
People are skeptical that, I did a live with Busyworks and Ab McCree and Dilio. And so the comments were going crazy, and a lot of them were claiming that she was lying. Timbaland does follow her on Instagram. So I think, I don't have proof that she wrote those songs. I don't have proof that she doesn't. I don't see Timbaland confirming or denying it.
Anybody can make any claims.
Yeah, no, they can. But I think the point is,
as much as I don't rock with what they're doing, I don't know if this is. There's enough reasonable doubt for me to not believe this woman. And this is the first time I've seen this video just right now. Like, I could point out multiple things right now that I'm just like, this is why I wouldn't believe it. I don't want to discredit sis. I don't want to tear her down. I'm just saying, I don't know if that's enough for us to sit here and say, I think that almost makes our argument weaker by bringing her into this.
I think the argument is that ultimately we're calling it an AI artist, but there are humans behind it. No matter what, there are humans behind all of this. They have to train on humans. So
100%. Yeah. I just don't know if she's writing it or whatever. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whether, like, yeah, similar to I see what you're saying. Similar to my claim that he might have taken it from TikTok and Instagram Live to feed Suno. It's not substantiated. You're saying it may be coming for her, but we know it's all training on. Yeah, I'm with you. My bad.
yeah, because if she's she's, even by her own admission, she's sending stuff to Timbaland. So if what she's saying is true, they have an arrangement going on. That's between them. If of course that's true, which we haven't confirmed that it is or that it's not. But again, AI is a framework, and AI has to take from humans. It has to take from humans to further take from humans. So it's taking from us twice. It's taking all of our creations and becoming more efficient than us, and then it's taking again by attempting to make us obsolete. My main questions are these. Let's just review the facts. Number one, Timbaland has a deal with UMG via Mosley Music Group, and I don't know if the UMG Nashville deal is different, Erinn. Number two, Timbaland is the most prominent celebrity spokesperson for Suno, which is a company that is currently being sued by UMG. Conflict of interest. Number three, Timbaland has created an AI label that's separate from the other label. It's called Stage Zero. He's calling it an A-pop label. This is according to various published stories, which on the live he claims was just a headline. I don't know what that means. He was basically saying, I don't know, you just read a headline. And it's like, yeah, but the headline has very specific information. So it was a weird interaction. Number four, he's tried making AI albums in the past, and there was crazy backlash. The Notorious B.I.G. posthumous AI album, they killed it. There was, remember that FN Mecca guy that was an AR artist? It was so unpopular, even the label abandoned it. Lastly,
he was using
Timbaland
racial slurs.
Well, yeah, and there's some problematic stuff potentially with this Tata artist. Lastly, Timbaland is currently tripling down on his AI endeavors in spite of the backlash from the fans, from fellow creatives, and even colleagues in the industry like Young Guru. So why is he dying on this hill? What does he know that we don't? This is a lot of commitment to something when the entire tide is against you. Why aren't you just kind of moving out the way? What's going on?
Well, I'm sure we'll continue this conversation at some point. It is very frustrating. But what's not frustrating is that you can use the code 2LOSS to get 3 months free music distribution. So go to
Use the code MEC.
Use the code MEC, go to 2loss.com and download the app as well. You can use the code in the app. Yeah.
Dane, can I ask you a question about this really quickly? Because I'm starting to get some DMs and people commenting.
Yeah.
If people are having issues with the app or with uploading stuff, I know they can fill out a ticket. People are saying the tickets are moving slowly. Is there something else that they can do? I told one person, because he was sending me paragraphs, I said, hey man, maybe make your ticket more concise and just ask one thing, because ultimately it's AI pulling stuff out to send to, somebody. So I told him that, and then he came back with some other things, and I said, well, just comment on our post, because 2Lost is tagged and maybe we can tag them in on that. But I'm like, hey y'all, I don't work at 2Lost. There's been some people who have complained in our YouTube comments, and I'm like, well, tell us what your complaints are, and then they don't say anything. So just let us know, like, if people have some issues, what should they be doing to resolve the issues?
Yeah, I mean, it's primarily the ticket system. I mean, from what I understand internally, like it gets cleared out almost daily. But there's all kind of issues that can arise. I don't know what specifically the issue is, so it's hard to speak generally about when you're uploading music, now there's so many different things. Like uploading music today is so much different than it was because there's so many different features, so many different details, all the metadata, things like that. So yeah, I don't know how to give the best advice like on the podcast. I would just say, have some patience. It's not going to be immediate. But I know that we respond to most tickets within 24, 48 hours. So, all right, y'all, I got to run. Interesting convo. Erinn, really loved your comments. Looking forward to seeing how people react and respond to them. So, all right,
Oh, this
y'all.
is going to be ongoing. We'll see. Peace.